Thanks for tuning in to this broadcast of The Resilient Advisor. My name is Jay Coulter, and joining me for this episode is my friend, Coach Joe Lukacs. Today, we're going to give you some thoughts on what to do here during this crisis, and specifically, how to play offense. Now, Coach Joe does not need any introduction to anybody who's been in this business for more than a cup of coffee, but on the off chance you don't know Coach Joe, he's been coaching for over 20 years. He is focused on helping advisors build better practices. The analogy he used last time he came on the podcast is something that I've been using ever since. Joe works on, if you think about a race car driver, Joe works on the race car driver, not the race car. He helps advisors get out of their own heads and start building the business that they want. Today, we're going to talk about playing offense during a crisis. Coach Joe, thanks for coming back on.
Jay, it's my pleasure to be here, and I'm so excited to share all these strategies that I've developed for my clients, and let's just get into it.
Yeah. All right. So let's dive right into it. Playing offense during a crisis. What's your first thought?
So first thought is it's all about thoughts, right? So what a lot of advisors do, and this is kind of human nature, their brain goes to, what do I need to do? Like in any training program, any class, it's all about do action. The problem with that is that you have to think, what do I believe first? You know, there was an interesting article in Investment News a couple of weeks ago, how they wrote about how some advisors are getting all these clients and they're besieged with referrals and assets, and there's other advisors who they're frozen, right? So what's the key difference there? Like what's the differential? And if you really look, if you were to interview both groups, you would find that the ones that are getting the referrals and getting the new money in and getting new relationships are thinking a certain way. They have a certain set of beliefs. And those that are stuck because I can't go see, nobody can come see me, that's a different set of beliefs, more of a victim type psychology. And it kind of perpetuates well, I can't do anything. So if you're going to go do something first, you've got to first say, okay, what do I believe? What does this mean to me? What do I believe? The person that has more of the victim psychology sits there and says, oh, look at what's happening to me. I can't do. I'm a victim. Therefore, why should I try? And then that becomes their narrative, right? The other person says, this sucks. No two ways about it. What do I need to do to drive through this? So all of a sudden we're doing a different Q&A in here, and then they go, oh, you know what? I can't meet with people. Maybe I should go check out Zoom or GoToMeeting. Like I've got to find a mechanism, right, to go do something. And I will say this, I think advisors who can virtualize their businesses, virtualize their game, are going to dominate going forward, right? Because this is not like short term, everything gets back to normal 2 week scenario. I think a lot of human beings are getting today, we can do it this way, let's do it this way. So I think that's the first thing, is check this first, check the mindset. What do you believe, right? Because once that's belief, action, results, evidence, right? So if
Joe,
you believe it sucks, yeah.
Can I stop you there? Let's go deep on that. I think that's important. That's half the phone calls, inbound phone calls I have. How do you shift that belief set from, they don't think they're acting like a victim, but they are. How do you go and move from that mindset into that offensive mindset?
Well, first off, the question. So number one, hey, what do you believe and what's your timeline? So the first thing, of course, I'm going to ask is that, right? Because the belief set is, hey, this is terrible. We can't do anything. We're frozen. We're locked in. Then why would you think you're going to take any action if that's your conversation with yourself, right? And then the second thing is timeline. So, because somebody says, well, we'll be out in a week or two. And then and I heard this in March. And then all of a sudden, April, hey, we're not out of it. It's like it's like sucker punched emotionally. Like, oh man, now we have all this uncertainty. So what advisors need to do is, first off, they've got to give themselves certainty. And what I mean by that, make some declarations. Hey, and this is my mindset. Hey, this is a 100-mile ultra marathon. We're about mile 40. All right. We got a long way to run, and every day is another mile. And so it's grinding, right? You just got to accept that. You don't have to like it. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything here, like it all. But you got to sit down and say, okay, what truly does this mean? Then the next thing, ask yourself this question. Is it possible to grow my business in terms of, again, new clients, new assets, new planning fees, whatever? Don't worry about the net new stuff. That's out of the box. Is it possible to do that? And if your answer is, yeah, it is, great. Second question, what do I need to do, right? But if the first answer is, no, I can't, there's nothing I can say to you or
Mm-hmm.
anybody, because if that's your wiring, then you're just going to sit back and, it's Pareto's law. 80% are going to sit back, maybe play a little bit around the margin, but really not drive. And 20% of the advisors are going to say, you know what? There's always a way forward. And I'm going to find a way, and I'm going to figure out how to do that, right? There's always a way. And, in my network yesterday, on Wednesday, I asked people to post their wins in the last 2-3 weeks. And it's massive, right? Bringing on new money. One guy brought in $3 million over the last 4 weeks. Like I've got people bringing in more money now than they did when things were quote unquote normal, because again, their mindset is, okay, there's a way to do it. How do I do it? And let's go execute. So I think for advisors, I've always said, this is the ultimate personal development business. Your blind spots are now exposed. Your mindset blind spots are now exposed. So anybody can do this business in good times. The real thing is, can you rise to the occasion and drive your business and lead your team and lead your clients when things are not optimal? That's really the question here.
So, Joe, this is a softball question because I have a better understanding of how you coach now.
Mm-hmm.
What are the rituals that they need to go through?
Well,
to get that mindset in the morning?
Great question. So look, if you don't control the first hour of the day, you're screwed. So, and when I say control, I don't mean go grab this and drop on CNBC or Fox News or Fox Biz and check the futures immediately, right? You can get to that later. It really boils down to, what do you do? Like, what are the questions you ask yourself? What do you visualize? What's your mental diet in the morning? And when people get into crisis mode, there's a tendency to want more information. You see it with clients. They're just watching the news. I need to know what's going on, stuff like that. There's a real negative piece to that, which is you get influenced by that, and it's easy to kind of go, I call it spinning. You go spin out, go sideways. So the first hour of the day for every advisor, what they need to do is, hey, go read a motivational book, go meditate, go pray, go check, like have a meeting with yourself, check in. And not to be delusional, let's say, oh, today's going to be a great day. And that's BS. But say, look, it's going to be a challenging day today. I'm going to rise to that challenge. There'll be times where I'm going to want to just kind of crawl somewhere, and I'm not going to allow it. Like, just be very conscious with yourself. So that's ritual number one, right? Get the mindset, get the morning fixed. The second thing is take care of your body, not just because you want to be healthy, so God forbid you don't catch anything, but on the offside, every person I've talked to, every one of my clients, they said, I've never worked this. I don't remember ever working this hard, ever talking to these many people. And I said, yeah. And I'm sure these aren't 5-minute conversations, are they, like they were a year ago? He goes, no, man, they're like 20, 25 minutes. And people are like, yeah, I got to check my family. I said, yeah, you're putting 10 times the energy out there now in your business. If you're doing it properly, you got to take care of the mechanism, the machine, right? Mm-hmm. So that means exercise. I don't care. Gyms are closed. Gyms are closed here in Florida, around most of the country. Go take a walk, go take a bike, go take a ride. I don't care what you do. Stay physically active. You got to cultivate energy, because if you're gassed, you're going to capitulate. You're going to sit in that chair in your office, look at that negative news, and go, you can't fight. So mind, body, right? Focus on this first hour. Take care of this. It will put you in a much more resourceful state. When you're in a resourceful state, you'll ask better questions of yourself and the people around you. You'll be able to influence other human beings, which is our game today. Is not being an advisor. It's being a communicator, influencer. It's very much like being a coach, more so than it is being an advisor. And that's what our audience here has to understand, that we have a different identity in times like this. It's not just enough to go over a financial plan or look at risk tolerance or look at an allocation. Where are your clients' mindsets? Where are their fears? How are you talking to them around that? It requires massive amounts of energy.
Joe, let's go back to the first hour of the day. I love that construct. Anybody who's been through my program, the language I use, it turns out is very similar to yours. You have a daily protocol system, things you're doing, exercise, paying attention to diet. Maybe you meditate. Maybe you're connecting with folks. Yeah. Something that you are a big proponent of that I don't have any real experience with is the visualization. Can you walk advisors through how they could visualize, I'm assuming, their day, and how that can impact the results that day?
Yeah, so there's 2 levels of visualization that we teach. One is strategic visualization, the other one's tactical. Strategic really goes to past, future. So in the past, when you've gone on vacation or you've had big wins, you want to kind of think about the victories you've had or the happy places in life. Like for me, I think about Del Mar, California, Hawaii, doing my planning event where I'm in front stage doing what I do. And it feels good to put you in a certain frame of mind. So we always want to do things strategically. And I recommend go to your past, quote unquote, happy places, wherever that is for you, right? Then tactically, what we want to do is picture ourselves and visualize, just like an athlete would in high performance, getting into your office, or if you're in your home office these days, and getting on the phone and work and talking to your clients and having great conversations, influencing them, having, giving them massive value, right? Doing all that and understanding that there's going to be probably a good chance you're going to have some people come into your world, clients, prospects, whatever, who are not in good shape. And you can say, you know what, whatever comes at me, I'm going to handle it. There's always a way, right? And so when you get the client that's on the ledge, has had enough, how do advisors have a choice. They can fight back and do what's right for the client, or they can capitulate and say, if that's what you want to do, that's okay. Because that requires no energy, right? So you decide in advance, I'm going to fight for every client. I'm going to fight for every one of my recommendations I believe to be right. If they're going to jump off the ledge, they're going to take me with them, because I'm going to give 100% effort to kind of keep them where I know they need to be, because it's in their best interest to be there. That you determine that in advance, not during a call. Like, okay, what am I going to do, right? You got to decide these things in advance. So visualize yourself talking your clients off the ledge. Visualize yourself leading your team. Visualize bad news and taking the shot, right? Mentally, like, but hey, we're going to bounce. I'll bounce back. Like, this is our performance is decided in advance. If you're going into your office, I don't care where it is today, and you're just going to try to see how it goes, or hopefully the goal is to get through the day, that's exactly what you're going to get. And that is not the standard this industry needs today.
So what do you recommend an advisor do if their day gets off on the wrong foot? So let's say somebody's watching this podcast that we're recording at 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And they say, you know what? Coach Joe is right. I need to reset my day. What's the process?
Well, first off, don't sit where you're sitting and go think about doing that. Go somewhere different. And I know that's a little relevant today. So, go if you're in your house, go take a walk outside. Maybe you jump in your car, gas is cheap. Go take a 20-minute ride around the block or around the neighborhood, right? Just change your physiology to reset, right? Don't sit and say, I'm going to reset. It doesn't work that way. So you got to break a pattern. These are pattern interrupts. You got to break the pattern. Go 5-10 minutes. You don't need like hours to do this. And then come back in and say, okay, day starts now. And then you go again, right? That's how you do it. You just declare, this ain't working. And I tell my clients this all the time, look, if you're sideways and you're just, not in a good place, get out. Mm-hmm. Get out, go take a walk, go get a cup of coffee, go take a drive, go take a run. Time is, and so many people get caught up into I don't have time, I got a lot to do. Yeah, but you're not going to do it anyway. And if you do it, you're going to do it really poorly. So let's not have that BS conversation. And who here gets paid by the hour? No one. So go change, pivot out, come back, right? That's a reset. Take time out, go do, right? And then come back. That's what advice. And you got as an advisor, especially if you're a real driven individual that goes, I'll just fight through this. No, you won't. You think you do, but you don't. So just time it out, take 5-10 minutes, go reset, come back, go. Also, if you notice, I've worked in my house for decades. I've got a standing desk here, right? So a lot of advisors, are in their home. Some of them don't have, offices at home. They're working off the kitchen table, the dining room table. Again, stand up. Even if you got to sit every hour, take a 10-15 minute break, go walk around, get the energy back. Your physiology matters. It always has mattered. It matters even more today.
Yeah, that's great advice. I want to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about the Magellan Network, and I'd love to get it through this construct. During this crisis, people are isolated. They're alone. And having not only resources and friends to lean on, but some accountability, it just seems to me is more important than ever. Talk about accountability through this crisis and through the lens of the Magellan Network.
Yeah, that's a great point. So, every advisor is a bit of an island right now, right? And it's really easy to kind of get caught in that isolation thing. One of the things I recognized a couple of years ago was that even when I talked to my clients who are at major firms and bigger branches, they still felt like very isolated. And it's hard to find like-minded advisors. You can go to conferences, but it's a little bit of a mishmash of everybody. So my group, we really are the 20 percenters, or the people that strive to be the 20% that really want to go out there and take action. And what's been beautiful in my world is to watch my network group. We just did, like I said, a big share on yesterday, on all the wins that we're having, and it was really interesting to watch kind of the mob mentality of, oh, hey, I did this, and oh, that's great, and people are like applauding each other and giving our little clicky thumbs ups, if you will, and stuff like that. And when you see 70 or 80 or 90 advisors having wins in a group, you realize, okay, it is possible to go do things, right? So I've always felt that in this industry, we spend way too much time on, what I'll call the practice management stuff. And Jay, you're great at that, and it's necessary. But like we talked about in our very first conversation, hey, I can have a great engineer that builds me a tremendous race car. But if the driver sucks, it doesn't matter. You're not going to win anything. You're going to crash, most likely, right?
Yep.
So inside of our construct with Magellan, we create protocols, success protocols. We create accountability. We create what I call a positive tribe atmosphere, and we do. We have that inside the network. Then inside the mastermind component, 2 weeks ago we just had a 2-day virtual mastermind via Zoom with 20 advisors that for 2 days they spent on Zoom working as a group, Q&A, answering questions, solving each other's problems. And I've never done I guess, can people stay on Zoom for that long, right? What does that look like, right? So we did like a 3.5-hour window, midday break, 3.5-hour window. Then day 2, we came back for the AM. We were supposed to meet physically in South Florida, and obviously we couldn't do that. And it was interesting to watch how everybody came together to help each other, to pick each other up. And it was just beautiful to watch, with all this chaos going on, how they were able to come together and have a point. And that's what's missing in our industry, are opportunities like that for the right mindset. Again, the right mindset of the advisor to say, you know what, I'm in a sea of guys who are just, woe is me. I need to find, where's this tribe, right? So that's been a very interesting bright spot for me, is to watch them help each other, where it's not just me, hey, do this, do this, where I'm really just kind of the facilitator, kind of hanging out. They're all coming together to support each other, and that's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I'm blown away at a two-day mastermind with 20 people. So you had 20 folks on a Zoom.
Yep.
For hours on end.
3.5 hours, 3.5 hours, 3 sessions, 3.5. Yep.
Serving each other. That
Yep.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up here, first, I want to make sure listeners are aware of something that I've been presenting on every podcast, and that is a group of fintech and wealth tech companies that I collated together to put together the crisis management program. And what this will allow advisors to do is get extended trials of some of the best fintech offerings out there. Some of the participants today include YCharts, Income Conductor, Data Points, and Lead Pilot from 20/10. I do not have a commercial interest in this. These are just wealth tech companies that want to help advisors. Please visit jcoulter.com/resilient to get more information and try to leverage these tools to help your practice during these challenging times. Also, I'd love for you to take a look at what Joe has at the Magellan Network. Joe, you want to tell listeners a little bit about the Magellan experience?
Yeah, real quick, I'm not good at doing ads for myself, but look, we have a set of tools, protocols, and resources and here's the beauty of this. You can come into our game on a trial and just come play for 30, 40. We're not sure how long we'll let trials go right now. We're just trying to support everybody. So typically it's 30 days. I think we'll be out 45, 60 days on some trials. And you know what? There's no downside. I mean, you come in, if it makes sense for you, stay. If it don't, no harm, no foul. We don't ask for any financial information or anything. We want open-minded advisors who really are looking to thrive, if you will, in these challenging times.
God, that's a great offer, Joe. So 30, 45-day trials during this period at the Magellan Network. It's kind of a no-brainer. And I know I'll get this question from some folks. Jay, why are you and Joe, who theoretically are competitors, talking about this? Why are you supporting him on your podcast? Joe and I run completely different games. Joe is an expert at helping advisors that are stuck in their own head get out of it. I highly recommend you take a look at the Magellan Network and what they offer and get out of your own head during this crisis. Joe, I appreciate you coming on the podcast again.
Jay, thank you for giving me the opportunity. And everybody, just go work.